Hi everybody, this is Pam with Jesus Junk Journals, and today I'm going to show you my latest journal kits. It is a boho style kit, and the subject is the book of Esther from the Bible, and so I'm pretty excited about it. So let's go. I'll show you the pages. Hi everybody, it's Pam with Jesus Junk Journals, and I'm going to show you my kit that is on Etsy that I've just designed. And it's all about Esther, the book of Esther, which is a wonderful story in the Old Testament. And I've been wanting to do a boho style journal for a long time, and I think I've shown you, in fact I know I've showed this before, but I'm gonna show it again. There's a fabric outlet by me, and they have it's the fabric you can get at Michael's and Hobby Lobby, and it's super cheap. Like, I got this big wad of fabric for $5. But this is going to be the cover, and who knows, I may end up making myself a dress out of it. What's left, I don't know. But anyway, I just think it's so pretty. And so I've got some fringe, pretty with that. I don't even know what else I got. This is something else from a flea market. But anyway, so there's my cover, I think. And so let me set that aside. I've had that forever, seems like. Okay, so here are the pages. So there are 15 pages, which will make a 60-page journal, not including whatever other pages you decide to add to it. You know, you don't have to use all these pages on your Esther journal if you don't want to, but this is what I'm giving you. So palm tree, I've got a lot of peacock imagery and poppy imagery, because, you know, it's set in Persia, but at the time it's when the Jews were held captive, and the king, it said his kingdom went from Cush, which was Ethiopia, all the way over to India. So he had access to a lot of exotic things, peacocks and, you know, things like that. So I included that. Poppies, because poppies grow there. And so there's this page. I love this peacock pattern, by the way. I may have to use that again sometime, but this is another page. So kind of a botanical poppy patterning, and part of a verse from the book, and it describes kind of it says, there were curtains of fine white and violet linen held by cords of fine purple linen on silver rings and marble columns, and couches of gold and silver on a mosaic floor of porphyry, marble, mother of pearl, and mineral stones. Drinks were served in golden vessels of various kinds, and the royal wine was plentiful in proportion to the king's bounty. So it just kind of gives you an idea of the opulence of what was going on at the time. And I did take a lot from the actual book, because this is a story and I wanted to make sure we got the whole story told. So there are chunks of the book of Esther throughout the add-on kit mainly. I think this is the only page that really has a chunk of words. We'll see. Okay, so then here's another page. So we've got patterning and poppy and peacock. Oh, I told you a lie. There's another piece. So there's a piece of the book. Some more peacock and poppy. This page says fierce, because Esther was fierce, I think. She saved her people, it says on this page. There's some patterning. I love this pattern. I think that's so pretty. Here's some blue. I did some research on the Persian style of patterning and things from, you know, their history. And so this is sort of the thing you would see there. And here's another one in orange and pink. Here's some fabric that I think I imagine Esther might have worn something like that as a veil, maybe. And there's some more patterning with the blues and golds and oranges. Some more. And I have used this pattern before, but I really had to use it again because, first of all, I love it. Second of all, it's just so perfect for this story and this journal. And here's some more Persian patterning, poppy, and some more botanical, and some more. So those are the pages. And then I'll show you the add-on kit. I went a little crazy with the add-on kit for several reasons. One is I had to get the story told. You know, with most of the other journals, it didn't matter. It's just whatever. But this kind of needs to be told, I think, through the thing. And I wanted to include enough that you could make it up for yourself, leave out what you want. But I wanted to make sure you had plenty to tell the story. So this is a card that will tri-fold, and this will glue on the back, and it's Esther. And throughout this, I found some wonderful artwork. If you love that kind of artwork, of oil paintings that artists have painted throughout the centuries of the story of Esther. And so Esther is depicted in many different ways, in different looks. So you'll be like, why does she look here and this way here? And it's different artists' renditions of what Esther looked like. So anyway, this tells about Esther. And it says she was a Jewish girl who was placed on the highest throne on earth in order to save her people. And her Hebrew name was Hadassah. And then it says, although God is never directly named in the book of Esther, the name Esther means something hidden. And God is hidden in this text. And so he's running throughout. I mean, they are in faith that God is going to save them. But it's just an interesting thing that God is not ever, it's the only book in the Bible that he's never mentioned. And also, if you, like, there are, I hate to use the word because it starts to sound weird, but codes, Bible codes, I mean, we don't want to go too, there's some really crazy stuff out there when you say Bible codes, but what I mean by that is God, when he wrote the Bible through his people that actually wrote it, there are so many mathematical calculations. If you check it, it's like there's no way this could not be divinely appointed because they all come together. And so with the book of Esther, for instance, the letters that spell God, that they use to refer to God, occur in the book of Esther at the letters occur every, I forget what the sequence is, every 49th letter or something like that, I forget. But it's definitely there. And I was listening to several different people I've been studying this so I could do a good job for you guys. And Chuck Missler has a really good study of it. And he's a mathematician and an engineer. And so he really enjoys that part of it. And he was talking about how this coding is there, you know, that God has hidden the name of God within the book of Esther in that way, sort of like a watermark on paper almost. And so that's another way that it's hidden. So anyway, even though the Jews have been taken into captivity because of their disobedience, God keeps his promises that they will be preserved. So that's that. Here's another one. Now here's the king, Ahasuerus. And here's Vashti. And so she was the queen. When the story begins, she was the queen. And then here's Haman, and he's the bad guy in the story. And so I kind of give a little explanation, which you might want to use as a journal card, or you might just want to refer to it to wonder, like, I thought some people might wonder, so why do we care about Esther? It's in the Old Testament. But basically, there's two things. It shows us that another plot of Satan to destroy the Jews and thereby destroy any possibility of a savior fulfilling all of God's promises. He promised all through, promised them, promised the world that he would bring a Messiah through the Jews. And Satan tried several times to stop that. And this is another attempt, because if he could have brought this plot of Haman's about, it pretty much would have wiped all the Jews out. And there would have not been a Messiah. So, at least not one that fulfilled all of God's promises. And that would have made God a liar. So, it's very important. And then the other thing is, God loved the Jews. And even though, they were disobedient, they turned their back on God, he still loved them and he kept his promise. So even though we break our promises, this book just shows us that God is a promise keeper. And he's consistent. He shows us mercy and grace and compassion all the time. So that's the other thing to take away from it. And so here are some scripture cards. This one folds down. You'll fold it in half right here, folds down, and it tells part of the story. And then here's a card for Purim. I don't even know how to pronounce it, Purim or Purim, but it's the day that is the holiday created because of what Esther did. And then here are 2 pockets. And there's 4 more pockets. Here's the decree that came out of this. Another card and another rendition of Esther and her uncle. And here's a card. These are tabs. There are tickets I made up that says to Queen Esther's banquet, just for fun. I don't know that they had tickets like that, but anyway, I thought it was fun. And then here's a 4-pocket attachment. And this is an old Jewish piece of art about Esther and Purim. That's how I'm going to pronounce it. And then this is the 4-flap box fold that I do a lot. These are the pieces. And it says, perhaps you were born for such a time as this. Because that's the quote. If you pulled one quote that everybody always knows about the book of Esther, that's the quote, is her uncle said to her, perhaps you were born for maybe that's why you were born, Esther, is to save your people. But it refers to us too, like, perhaps you were born for such a time as this. And with the crazy times we're going through, that might be a good reminder for you to, just remember that God has a plan for you. So anyway, there's that. And here's the other flaps that will go with it. So these will all combine into a 4-flap box fold and have, let's see, it'll have 1, 2, 3, 4 pockets. So there's a coin holder, envelope, sorry. 6 more pockets. And then these are tags, and there is a back for those using artwork like I mentioned. And I've said this before. Okay, so these 3 tags are the same size. These 2 are more narrow. So you're going to want to, if you glue these together to make one tag, you're going to want to match these 2 to these 2. These 3 to these 3, because they are a little bit different size. And I was going to fix it, and then I realized the reason I did that is because I have to leave a 1/4 inch margin for printers that do that. So there wasn't room to make them all the same. And I wanted to get 5 tags on a page. So that's the reasoning. So here's the artwork. Here are the words. Here's another painting. And this is a picture of Haman when he throws himself on Esther's mercy and gets in trouble, and they're about ready to haul him away. And then these are some cards with different pieces of the story and different scriptures. Here's a painting that someone did of Esther denouncing Haman at her banquet. I think that's my favorite of all of them. This is a piece that you can use for pockets, or if you want to cut them up and do something else with them, you can do that. These large pieces of artwork, this is different than any journal I've ever done. I wanted to include these images, and I wanted them to be as large as I could get them. And I wanted you to be able to attach them in the journal I didn't want to just make the pages that. I wanted you to be able to put them where you wanted them. And also, that's the other thing, is like these pictures go in order in the story. And, you know, when you take your journal pages, it's hard to, like, if I had spread that picture over 2 pages, by the time you folded it and bound it, this page would be a completely different place than this page. So they might not run together and be in the right place. So I had to make them a separate item. So my thought was that we will take them and just kind of fold them in half and then glue them as a folio to the edge of a page wherever you would want to put them. Here's a large envelope and a little piece of ephemera. Another illustration of Mordecai being paraded through the streets. That's really funny when you read the story. Little cards to put in. Here is Esther when she went to the king and really took her life in her hands. So there's a painting that someone did of that. My printer is putting lines on everything, so my prints are not good, but hopefully yours will be better than mine. I need to clean my printer. So it says the king extends the golden scepter. So that's how he saved her. Here's 2 more cards. Here's another piece of artwork they did of Mordecai. He refused to stand and bow to Haman. And that's what kind of started the whole ball rolling. So there's a painting of that. Here's some little ephemera card. Here's a card about Mordecai. That's kind of like the one with Esther where it's a trifold, and you'll put this on the back. So it just explains who he is. It says Mordecai is Esther's older cousin who raises and advises her. Although he is Jewish and a captive, he has a position in the kingdom. It says Mordecai was from the tribe of Benjamin, a descendant of Shimei. Had David killed Shimei when he threw rocks and taunted him, Esther would not have been born. So kind of a little piece of trivia there. But if you go back in the history of the Bible, you find out that one of the ancestors of Mordecai was the one that threw rocks at David. And if David hadn't been so humble and let him live, we may not have had a Mordecai or an Esther. It says he was taken captive when the Babylonians conquered Israel, and then the Medes and Persians conquered Babylonia, and he was their captive. So that's kind of just a little bit of a story of who he is and all that. And then we're back to Esther. That's the same page. So anyway, I hope you like I hope you like this. And so we will begin the process, start cutting out the pages and all the pieces, and we will start on that on the next video. So if you enjoyed the video, please click like and think about subscribing if you would like to. I would love for you to do that. And I will see you on the next video. Bye-bye.